So, Coach, heading to SEC country, what are your thoughts about taking the team on that trip?
I think it's going to be a good way to rehearse for conference road scenario, and that's how we've approached it. And we've had some good practices following our game last week, and just trying to simulate those conditions. We're going to have to go on the road really soon in the Pac-12 and play two game set, and for us to be able to go to Georgia on Saturday and have to play again on Monday at Vanderbilt, it simulates those conditions.
They're a long athletic team like you guys are, so is that what you're talking to them about, just kind of sustaining their intensity and those types of things?
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar in that regard. I don't think we're going to come close to overwhelming them from a size, athleticism standpoint. And I just know Tom Crean is an excellent coach that is going to have his team prepared, and they're going to work hard. They're going to compete, and so it's going to be a real good test for us.
Coach, 4 tough games back. Not that there's ever an easy game, but how do you keep your team, or how do you plan on keeping your team from getting too high if they win these, or too low if they don't?
Well, you just want to learn from. I think that was the beauty of there are no moral victories, and you hate to lose anything. But when you could sit down and look at the film and pick it apart and figure out why the outcome was what it was, then that's what this is all about. For all teams are learning about themselves still at this point in the season. But I think our growth potential is substantial because of our youth and having 5 of our top 8 guys are freshmen and sophomores, so they're still learning, and we've had a lot of guys out in practices in the off season. So just having everyone back on the floor, and it's we got a chance to develop, and that's why it's great, and that's why to play these kind of games are very helpful in terms of your development as a team.
I mean, do you feel that every day passes by, Remy and Rob are knocking off more rust and just be different players than they were last week?
I mean, we got to be patient with those guys as they get adjusted from a lot of time off and just finding their niche, within what we're doing. And I just know that there are great things ahead for both of those guys. They're moving a lot better than they did last week, and so that's a great sign too.
How tough is it for you to keep them, obviously with their plan, like rehabbing and stuff, but they want to get back in there for you guys as a staff to kind of balance out, like you said, to get the rest off, but to reintroduce them to it too?
Yeah, I think it depends on the injury and what you're talking about. So it's, I think in Remy's case, it's just going to be gradual, and his improvement won't be, hey, going from 75 to 100%. He's just going to gradually get himself closer, and him getting practice reps and playing in the games now, as long as he's getting taped and doing his treatment, he's going to continue to improve. But yeah, you want to protect, as a coach, you got to protect the guys from themselves sometimes. And I think with Rob's situation, we gave him all the time he needed, and he's understands what his treatment schedule is, and just getting the reps he needs, and it's more of a timing and a feel thing for him right now.
This is an opportunity for Romelo to go home and play in front of a lot of friends and family. What's that like for him, do you think?
I'm excited for him. That's why we were happy that we were able to set this game up, because it gave him a chance for that. We like to try and do that with as many guys from out of the area as possible. So I could see the way he's been practicing, the enthusiasm for getting on that plane tomorrow, and he's got a lot of family and friends going to the game, so he's looking forward to it.
Does he almost have to be careful, because he's a naturally very kind of energetic guy anyways, about getting too amped up?
I mean, I'd rather have a guy more ready to play than less, or more excited to play in a game. So, yeah, well, I think he'll be fine. He's played in a lot of big games for us.
Coach, before the ASU football team left, Hurley said he was really excited to get a milkshake. So I have to ask, if you were going on a road trip, what would your milkshake flavor be and why?
Well, that's when I'm on the Peloton, I guess I got to go a little further, or I got to run a little further on the treadmill. Yeah, I'm not a big ice cream guy, to be honest, and I'm sure I get my fair share of calories in other ways. But yeah, I guess just straight ordinary vanilla, I guess. I mean, I don't, I'm not a big milkshake guy. I saw the video though. It was fun to see how excited Herm was. Most people aren't going to Vegas to get a milkshake.
Did you specifically schedule this to simulate like a Pac-12 weekend? Was that part of the thinking behind these two games?
Yeah, I think it was. It's something that I touched on earlier, and to try and simulate, going on the road in Pac-12. And I've talked a lot about non-conference, but I've talked quite a bit more about league play for us this year to my team, and preparing for that as the second chapter of our season. This is the first one, and so an opportunity to play 2 road games and see how we handle that. Just a crowd and not our normal environment, and this will be our first true one. So it's exciting, and that's kind of why we set it up, because we have to do better in the Pac-12 this year than we've done in past years, and especially learning to win games on the road.
After that Nevada game, what do you think the team learned about itself?
I thought that there was an investment there, not only in that game, but just how we practiced. That there was a lot of disappointment, and but that didn't linger. Our film session was as good as I've had, because there were questions being asked. It was constructive. We saw the mistakes, especially on defense, and in the second half, and some turnovers, and then the guys took what we talked about and then brought it to the practice floor, the last couple of days, and we've tweaked some things in practice to hopefully address being a better defensive team in the second half of games, because that's been something we haven't been happy about, just in terms of being sometimes so dominant defensively in the first half, and then having a big drop off in the second half.
You were talking about Edwards a little bit. What is the biggest thing to help him coming off a back injury to get back to where he needs to be?
Yeah, I think with Rob, it's just timing and feel and figuring out where his opportunities are gonna surface. And with some guys maybe that move without the ball well, and our offensive rebounders, they could find ways to get themselves right back into a good rhythm. With guys that could score it, and like Rob can, and it's more of just adjusting to the offense, playing with guys that he hasn't played with for a big amount of time. So just getting his rhythm, his timing, and because he's more of a scorer and a really good offensive player, and sometimes when you miss that much time, those guys take a little bit longer to get their groove.
Coach, this is the 25th anniversary of your accident, and considering how successful you are now, is this something that you ever saw yourself achieving?
I don't even want to go there, because I've held it together well today. We had a good day in practice, but it's just very satisfying, because I'm still doing what I love to do, and I have former players that reach out to me about it, because I've spoken to them about that, and everyone has something in their lives that's been tough that they've had to go through, and whether it's personal or with a family member or loved one. So I'm not the only one out there that has that. So to be able to share that with the players and talk about it, and then to see that they know how I might feel on a day like today, and they reach out, it's what makes this job really what it's all about. So thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.